Legge and Dylan Webber. When was the last time they had open practice, Georgia?
Missouri week, I think. I think they had one on a Tuesday then.
So we don't have the first idea what they're doing, but we were talking yesterday, and we're still kind of guessing that they could go tempo at times here.
Well, I've always thought that, and I think I've said this for years now, and I think people will agree with me on this, is that Jake Fromm looks at his best when they're in tempo, when they're in rhythm. They get 1-2 quick completions, a good run, and they just keep building on that. And that's not really Georgia's style of play, but I think that's when Jake Fromm is at his best.
Did you catch what Kirby said the other day, though, about how LSU plays defense is predicated on how they play offense? I wonder how many people in there heard that and processed it, that he was saying, hey, with the way we play, we're not going to go up and down the field on offense. We're going to kill the clock. We're going to limit possessions. His idea of stealing possessions in Kirby's mind may be, oh, no, I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about taking possessions from them. That may be what he's trying to say.
I think it benefits both in that sense. Especially in a game against LSU, you want to limit their possessions because
no question.
Yeah, that's the huge thing. I think it's a way bigger deal against LSU than it is against, or was against, Texas A&M. And
yeah, and A&M had such a hard time doing anything. I mean, these teams are having a hard time doing anything almost until the fourth quarter. I mean, that Auburn, Florida, and Texas A&M all had some success in the fourth quarter. Can you explain why?
Tired out, I guess. In Auburn, they got tired out.
Definitely got tired.
You could see it then. Florida, I wonder.
Did A&M score a touchdown or 2 touchdowns against Georgia?
I think just one because they had 13.
It's kind of hard to really criticize a touchdown in a game if you're a defense.
No, definitely, yeah.
So that it came in the fourth quarter, you know. But
there's only so much you can do. At that point, it's more on the offense to score more.
Or just to possess the ball, which they did at the end of that game.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they killed off, 4 minutes or 3? I think it was about 4 because Jimbo probably regretted punting that ball. You know?
Yeah, honestly. That's fair.
Because, you know, the question was, would you get it back for sure? And with the reputation Georgia's deep offense has, everybody's probably like, well, yeah, you're going to get it back. These guys suck. But at the end of the day, you still have to deal with Swift. You still have to deal with, you know, Fromm,
we think Swift.
We think Swift. I'm pretty sure.
We're pretty confident, but.
But I wonder how much, you know, PTSD Georgia fans are going to have going to that fourth quarter if they're up 3 or 10 or 7, or in the case of playing LSU, anything fewer than 3 touchdowns. How confident are they going to be we can stop them from here on out? Because that's when the issues have started in the fourth quarter.
I guess it just depends on the rhythm of the game at that point.
Yeah.
It's so hard to say where Georgia's defense will be at in the fourth quarter in a game like this because...
Well, if they kill off the clock enough in the first 30 minutes, then they should be okay. But I don't think you want to be chasing around some guys from Louisiana in the fourth quarter if you can help it.
You make it sound like when you say that, I envision like the police chasing after like this police officer right here parking in the zoned off lane. But no, when you say like chasing around a man from LSU, I just think of like a police officer chasing around like a naked Louisiana man yelling like, go to hell, you sons of bitches. That's just what comes to my mind.
Oh my God. Is that what people from Texas think about people from Louisiana?
I feel like that's what everyone thinks about people from Louisiana. Sorry if any of y'all are from Louisiana.
It's a different makeup. They love LSU, man, as much as anybody. I think they love LSU probably more than most teams love their team. It's a cultural thing. You know, obviously the Saints are a huge deal in New Orleans, but LSU has it's different than it is in other parts of the South, I think, because nobody, I mean, if you're from Louisiana, you're from there. Whereas Florida, to some degree Georgia, and more Tennessee and places like that, not everybody's from there. Definitely not Florida. But in Louisiana, I mean, nobody would. It's a different world.
Yeah.
Is that a nice way to say it? I think it's really. By the way, New Orleans is.
Oh, I love New Orleans.
Really nice.
Louisiana isn't that bad. There are just some weird cats there.
And there are Georgia has more than its fair share of curious creatures, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially one. I don't know.
No, go ahead.
No.
Offend everyone.
I ain't trying to fight that fight. It's an uphill
battle.
battle.
Are you saying something bad about DeKalb County in this car?
No. I know very well not to talk shit about DeKalb County around you.
Definitely not. It's the jewel of Atlanta.
Okay, now.
It's going in that fourth quarter. If that game's close, like LSU, they kind of had to push away from Texas, right?
Yeah.
Same thing.
They had to keep their distance, I would say.
Same thing with Bama.
That one I was a little more so. I think it was similar, but a lot closer, and I think a lot more threatening.
This running back, though, that they've got, I mean, Kirby won't shut up about him either.
He said, I think on Monday, that he makes the best tacklers in the SEC miss frequently.
Georgia's going to have to make this game ugly.
Oh, yeah. They love to make games ugly. That's their whole...
They're good at it.
Yeah.
They're good at it. Like Jake Camarda, he's got to play well.
Yeah. I think about how important Cam Nisley was in that 2017 season.
But now, Camarda, who did not play well last year.
And the beginning of this year,
has come along and is starting to play much better than he did.
Fantastically. I think he's been incredible.
It's not always an attractive punt.
But he boomed the shit out of it.
Like that guy last week at Tech, there were some he laced into, and then there were some off the side of his foot.
Yeah.
And what you want if you're Georgia from Jake this week is hang time and consistency. Mm-hmm. Probably hang time over anything else.
And you don't want to give him touchbacks. If you can make it on the 15 or the 10.
I don't give a shit who is on the field. If it's the 1990 Houston Cougars, it's still hard to go 90 yards. Or 85 yards.
And they might be able to do it once, but if you can get them consistently.
It's just tough to do that, man. I mean, even big plays, there's something on there in the notes this week. It's tough to hit big plays against Georgia. Let me see it while we're at the stoplight. I mean, when you look at how many big plays have come against this Georgia defense, it's not a lot.
I'm trying to think of the biggest plays I can remember.
Big plays. So Vanderbilt didn't have one. 66 yards for Murray State. 45-yard pass for Arkansas State. 28 yards for Tennessee for Notre Dame. Tennessee was 73 yards. 56-yard interception for Carolina. 58-yard kickoff return for Kentucky. 29-yard pass for the Gators. None for Mizzou. Auburn had 28-yard pass twice. A&M didn't have any. And then a 25-yard kickoff return. So 2 or 3 times this year, the biggest play in the game is in on special teams.
Well, Kirby will tell you that that's unacceptable as well. And in a game like this, it would be too.
25-yard return on special teams and a kickoff return, that's nothing. It's like a touchback.
But a 56-yarder.
Yeah, it's way too much.
That cannot happen in a game like this.
Well, it's going to happen against LSU. They're going to hit a big play or two.
LSU?
Yes.
Yeah.
You would think. But what you got to do, I do wonder if the style of play that Georgia has will give LSU a little trouble. And they're not, they totally believe in gap integrity.
Oh my God, that's like their religion.
They're not
gap integrity, baby.
They're not gonna rush the passer and leave gaps unfilled.
They talked about.
They may go ahead.
Aziz talked about this specifically, especially with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is not incredibly
he's extremely athletic.
He's not like super fast.
No, but he's extremely athletic,
and he just seems to have a way of
I don't know
finding some open
if you
ground.
Leave it open, and you're playing Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, but if you're playing athletic quarterbacks, they're going to bust you in your face with it. I mean, like, as it relates to Joe Burrow, I bet you, and I don't know anything, I bet you he can play basketball. I just bet you he can play basketball.
I think Kirby said After
I almost guarantee you he can play basketball.
I think Kirby said something about him playing basketball.
Which is the true measure of a football player's athleticism is can they play another sport, specifically a sport like basketball that's
a lot of lateral movement.
Yeah, leaping, jumping, quick steps. You know, he is dangerous. But with the gap integrity, he'll still get his yards rushing.
You just can't. He can't cover the whole field.
It's going to be tough, though. I mean, and the other question is, like we've talked, you and I've talked about this in the past, is a guy like Nakobe Dean going to be way more important in this game
as a spy?
Yeah, I mean, like you're watching Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow has he don't give a shit. He's got no chill at all.
Well, you need that sideline to sideline guy for someone like Joe Burrow, kind of like they did against. Roquan is a man of his own.
Yeah, I know.
But against a guy like Jarrett Stidham, who I don't think was nearly the quarterback Joe Burrow was, but had that similar athleticism, who could pick up yards.
And the next kid is not so far from that either.
No. And so I think, I don't know if it has to be Nakobe Dean. I think Tate Crowder could definitely do it.
But they've got two guys like that, and it's just like, how are they going to... It's really important to not let him get going. And the cheap first downs are a problem. If they're throwing on you, that's one thing. But you cannot let Burrow, if it's 3rd and 7 and no one's open, it's got to be that he gets shut down. Because if he's scrambling, that's not a 7-yard run. That's like a 13-yard run.
Yeah.
And and he pulls that off a lot.
You can't give that to him.
No, because you have to end drives. And they've done a pretty good job of that this year. I would be concerned about that if I were LSU. Because when you watch a lot of teams, they blitz, and the blitz leaves a gap open. Now, obviously, you come behind and you're supposed to cover it and so forth. But with Georgia, they seem to do such a good job of not having to gamble. That matters.
I think it's worth remembering, too, that last year going into this game, Tua was kind of untouchable. He was the Heisman winner at that point. Yeah, it was unquestioned. He was the Heisman winner going into that game, and Georgia forced him to play horribly.
He was scared. Scared.
And I think that Georgia defense, was
I don't know if Joe Burrow is capable of being scared.
I don't know.
But Tua was not happy about being out there. And this Georgia defense is not spectacular in terms of individual skill and so forth. They're just not. But they'll give you trouble.
I will say, you remember the Joe Burrow run against Georgia last year?
Yeah, it was 55-yard or whatever it was.
I remember I was right there where he got tackled. And when he stood up, the look he had in his eyes, it was just straight face. He almost seemed like he was unconscious and unaware of what had just happened. But he just seemed like a crazy person. And that's when I knew, I was like, this guy is a badass. And
he is. There's no doubt. But he's dealing with a different monster this week. And, I don't know who'll win. But the way LSU will win this game is probably, if they win, is probably not going to be the way they won a lot of these other games. I think Georgia can play the way they've played and win. I think LSU, if they think they're going to come in, and score 40 or something points, 50 points, that would be something I have to believe to see, or see to believe, and it would be a pretty tremendous outlier for a Kirby defense.
Do you know what the over/under is for this game?
No, look it up.
Because I would be curious to see what Vegas thinks LSU will score in that sense.
You would think it would be in the 70s, the score, the over/under. Maybe not, though. I don't know. Why don't y'all go to Dog Post, make sure you subscribe, check out these other videos from the game week. What's the over/under there?
Well, first of all, the spread's gone up to 7.5. LSU.
That's dumb.
Over/under is 56.
Well, then that's not going to be a game that's going to be a game in the 20s. 56, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you said? So 28-21, something like that? That'd still be a little bit. So you could get a 31-24, something like that situation where, you know, yeah, 31-24. That's a game Georgia can win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, will they win or not? 7, to me, I would take Georgia.
I agree.
That's too high for me. All right. Subscribe. Riding home. We'll see you Friday at the Dome. We'll have all the stuff that you need, but make sure you subscribe. Don't miss out on anything.